All right, today we're going to dive into a concept that might just completely change how you look at your social media feed. It's this idea of the unemployed internet, and more importantly, how you can start curating your own reality against it.
So let me just ask you something. You ever find yourself scrolling and you just get this overwhelming feeling that the world is, for lack of a better word, cooked? You know, that everything is just broken beyond repair? If that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. And that feeling, well, it might not be an accident.
And this quote right here, it just hits the nail on the head. That constant feeling of crisis, it isn't necessarily reality. A lot of the time, it's actually just a symptom of a really, really biased feed. Now, this isn't about sticking your head in the sand and ignoring real problems. It's about understanding the distorted lens we're all being forced to look through.
So, okay, why does your feed feel so cooked? Let's get into the mechanics behind it.
Here's the thing you gotta understand. What you see online is not a random sample of what people are thinking. Not even close. Your online environment is largely built and shaped by a very specific and, frankly, very loud group of people who have an outsized voice. Which brings us to the core idea here.
This whole phenomenon actually has a name, the unemployed internet. And really, getting a handle on this is the first step to taking back control of your own feed.
Now let's be super clear about something. The term jobless isn't a dig at anyone's employment status. Not at all. It's really just shorthand for a specific kind of lifestyle, being chronically online. It's a way to describe anyone whose schedule or work gives them a massive amount of time to just post, constantly. And by doing that, they end up dominating the entire conversation through sheer volume.
And this table really just lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you have the chronically online, who are just pumping out a huge volume of content, usually from a pretty niche perspective. And on the other side, well, you have the average person, someone who's busy actually living their life offline and who posts way, way less. The result is this huge disconnect, where the conversation happening in the digital world just doesn't reflect what's happening in the real one.
So what happens to our brains when we're flooded with this stuff all day? Well, it triggers this little mental shortcut we all have called availability bias. Basically, our brain makes the mistake of thinking that whatever is most easily available, like that constant stream of angry negative posts, is what's most common. It's the same reason people think shark attacks happen all the time, just because they're always on the news. Online, the loudest, angriest voices start to sound like the only voices.
So what is the actual output of the unemployed internet? It's this tidal wave of what's been called commentary slop, and learning to spot this stuff is basically a modern online survival skill.
And you know this content the second you see it. It is just relentlessly negative. It takes really complex, nuanced issues and boils them down to some simplistic black and white fight. It's often posted by anonymous accounts, and honestly, its only real goal is to get a reaction out of you, not to actually inform you.
And, right here, this is probably the most crucial takeaway. This content, this slop, it isn't designed to be accurate. It is engineered from the ground up for engagement, because outrage gets clicks. Every time you rage click, every time you drop an angry comment, every reactive share, you're just feeding the beast. You're giving the algorithm exactly what it wants, and it has almost nothing to do with what's actually real.
Okay, so I know that all sounds pretty bleak. I get it. But here is the good news. You are not powerless in this. You don't have to just sit there and consume all this slop. You can actively, consciously curate your own reality. And here's how you do it.
This is such a key distinction to make, because some people hear this and they immediately scream, "Oh, you're just creating a filter bubble." But that's totally missing the point. This isn't about censorship. It's not about hiding from real-world problems. It's about conscious consumption. I mean, think about it. You wouldn't eat junk food for every single meal, right? So why would you do that with your information diet? So how do you actually do this? It's a really simple three-step process. First, you've got to identify the slop sources in your own feed. You know who they are. Second, use the mute and block buttons. And I mean fearlessly. They are your best friends for protecting your mental peace. And third, you have to actively replace the noise. Go out and find diverse, expert voices to follow. The builders, the scientists, the artists, the people who have actual real-world experience. They offer perspective, not just perpetual outrage.
And it's so important to remember this. The goal here is not to create some perfect utopian feed where problems don't exist. Not at all. The goal is to cultivate a realistic one, a feed that actually reflects the true complexity of the world, a world that has nuance and progress and, yes, setbacks, all happening at the same time.
So I'll leave you with this final thought.
Your feed isn't just a window that you look through to see the world, it's a world that you are actively building with every single follow, every mute, and every click. So the real question isn't just what's happening out there, it's what reality am I building in here?